Who is the GOAT of every single UFC weight class? Well, today, guys, we'll be working that out. I've got fighters who I think are the GOAT of their weight class all on the screen. I'm going to drag and drop them into their weight class and try and explain why I think they are the GOAT of the weight class. And yeah, that's the video today. I'm MMA Tizzo. Subscribe if you're new here. And without further ado, let's get right into this ranking. So, first of all, flyweight, 125 pounds. I don't think this one's controversial whatsoever. I think everyone will agree with me. Demetrius Johnson is the greatest flyweight of all time. He's fast. He has A-tier grappling, A-tier striking, and A-tier jiu-jitsu. Very agile, quick on his feet. Not too much power in the hands, but it doesn't really matter because he was still outstriking most of his opponents. And he's just everything a good flyweight should be. Like I said, very fast and nimble, just really incorporating the flyweight aspect of it. So slick on his feet, amazing footwork. Very, very agile, really good grappling and scrambles. Obviously, very iconic flying armbar submission in one of his title defenses. And I'm pretty sure he's won like 10 title fights, which to me is just crazy. Still relatively young. I'm pretty sure he's only like 35 or 36. Obviously, he's fighting one now. He recently got knocked out by Rodtang, but he's still killing it, still making a lot of money, still a great fighter. And he's probably the worst decision of the UFC to swap him for Ben Askren. I can't believe that. What a terrible, terrible swap. But anyway, he's gone now, but still, he's the GOAT of the division, and he will be for a long time unless Brandon Moreno goes on an absolutely mad tear. But I think he'd beat Brandon Moreno in his prime, to be honest, so I'm not going to rank him anywhere near him for the time being. We move on. 135 pounds bantamweight. Now, I did think long and hard about this because honestly, I don't really think there is a GOAT of bantamweight, but it's kind of Dominic Cruz, okay? I feel like the true GOAT of bantamweight, there isn't exactly a definitive one yet, but I mean, for now, I'd say it's Dominic Cruz. He's only lost a few times in his career. Obviously, he just got knocked out brutally by Marlon Vera about half a year ago, and he has a few losses. He's lost to Cejudo, but he won so many fights earlier in his career, pre-injury, got the injury, had to come off, came back, and then he lost to Cody Garbrandt. He got schooled, so he was on the receiving end of one of the best UFC title performances of all time. So that kind of does harm his credibility a bit. But looking before that, what a fighter. This guy, he has fallen off now, but he's very old and he's still active and good. He's a good fighter still. Definitely deserves to be ranked. So considering he's like 38 now, I think, and he's in a smaller weight class where your primes are lower in your age, you got to give him respect, So he's the GOAT of the bantamweight division, considering he's still a ranked contender, genuine contender at the age of 38 or so. Obviously, amazing prime, so phenomenal, fast, very unique footwork. I think that's why he was so tricky to work out, and great cardio. And an okay chin, has it deteriorated? Yes, he's took a lot of damage though, so we'll we can't be too harsh on him. We move on. Featherweight. If you asked me this 2 years ago, it would have been a different answer, but it's Alexander Volkanovski. And obviously Aldo comes to mind, and maybe Holloway for some others, but it's Volkanovski now. After he 3-0'd Holloway, there's no arguments for Holloway anymore because this guy is just levels above him. He's better at striking than Holloway, he's better at grappling, and that's all there is to it for them. Pieced up the Korean zombie, took Islam Makhachev, I know that was in lightweight, but it's the same guy, took Islam Makhachev to a very competitive ending of their fight. And I mean, what else can I say about this guy? Undefeated at featherweight. His record's like 24-2 now. Honestly, amazing fighter. Just so high level. His striking is so good. S-tier striking without a doubt. Some of the best cardio we've seen in the UFC on the levels of Colby Covington. Very good chin. And obviously he surpassed Jose Aldo. Obviously he's very dominant as a champion, very, very dominant. Doesn't finish all his fights, but he still does well. And there's really not much else to say about GOAT except Volkan, except that he is the GOAT of the division. And maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago it was Jose Aldo, but things kind of took a turn for him after he lost the title. And that hasn't happened to Volk yet, so he's the GOAT of the featherweight division. We move on. 155, lightweight, one of the most important divisions in the UFC. Khabib Nurmagomedov. Some people aren't going to like this, and to be honest, when Khabib was champion, I wasn't the biggest fan. I kind of would have rather Conor was maybe the champion, but Khabib is good. So all I have to say, Khabib is the best lightweight ever. I think he beats everyone. I think Islam Makhachev probably beats him now. But Khabib was there, and he was beating some of the best lightweights. He beat Poirier. Obviously, he finished Conor McGregor. He finished Gaethje in 2 rounds. Very, very impressive stuff. Beating all the highest level lightweights there is. And until his McGregor fight, he'd never lost a round, which I just think is crazy in the octagon. Did he lose to Brendan Thibault? He didn't lose, no, but it was a pretty controversial fight. Not his greatest performance, but considering that was his worst performance, and he still won. So 29-0 undefeated. You can't really make a case that any lightweight's better than him yet. The only person that I see challenging this soon is Makhachev, because Khabib could have maybe been the all-time GOAT, but he retired way too early for that, ruined his chances of that ever happening. And if Makhachev defends like four more times, 3 more times, with convincing fights and good finishes, he can become the lightweight GOAT and replace Khabib. But for now, more defenses, dominant performances against high-level contenders and title contenders. You're the GOAT of the lightweight division for now, Khabib. But in two years or so, it might be Makhachev. We move on. 170 pounds. I'm going for GSP. What more do I need to say about George St. Pierre? But he is one of the all-time GOATs of the sport. He's only lost twice and he avenged both his losses. They were both to guys called Matt. So if you're called Matt, you have a very solid chance of beating GSP, I guess. But obviously, his wrestling's amazing, and it's kind of crazy considering he came from more of a karate background. He just was suddenly really good at wrestling, which I find really interesting because he wasn't brought up wrestling. His base wasn't wrestling, it was more karate style. Cardio was probably a bit of an issue for him, maybe, and his chin wasn't amazing either, but he always did well. I think his fight IQ was pretty underrated. If he was losing on the feet, he'd just take them down and try and gas them, and if he was winning on the feet, he'd keep it standing and mix it up. He had kicks. Very athletic guy. That's why I think he did so well, because a lot of the welterweights weren't as athletic as him, and he's pretty big for a welterweight. Obviously, he has a great physique, and obviously, like I said, he avenged both losses to Matt. And also Matt Serra should have never beaten him. I kind of can't believe he lost to Matt Serra. It's pretty crazy that he got knocked out by him in 1 round. But amazing performances. Obviously, he came back at middleweight to beat Mike Bisping. So he is a double champ. So that definitely helps his credentials at being the GOAT of his division. Even though that wasn't in his division, it definitely helps. And GSP, honestly, he helped get me into mixed martial arts. So huge respect to him. And yeah, amazing fighter, and very, very, very humble as well. We move on. Middleweight. It's Anderson Silva for now, but unfortunately it could be Adesanya soon. Anderson Silva in his prime, insane fighter, so dangerous on the feet, and even the fights he was losing on his back, he wins them. He got the triangle against Sonnen. He was dangerous off his back. He had a good submission threat, and just guys, stand-up was he was elusive, so hard to hit on the feet. Great fighter. Obviously, after his prime, he did become a bit of a punching bag in the division. He did kind of fall off pretty quickly. Yeah, deteriorated quite quickly, and honestly, he took a lot of damage as well. So we're not really gonna blame him. Adesanya will probably surpass him. I hate to admit it, but I'm not the biggest Adesanya fan, but Adesanya will probably surpass him if he gets a few more title defenses and then calls it a career. But for now, it's Anderson Silva. I think he has 16 title defenses in a row, and he has the longest reign as UFC champion. So those are two stats you can't argue against. And obviously, Israel Adesanya will never match that because he's been finished by Pereira. So credit to Anderson Silva. Bro, that's a really difficult record to not lose a fight in all that time. Just even by like an unlucky punch or something. So that's why he's there and Adesanya isn't. We move on. 205. This really isn't a debate. It's John Jones. John Jones is obviously the 205-pound GOAT. Obviously, he hasn't really lost. He's got a technical loss in his record, but it wasn't a legit loss. He got it was a no contest, or he got disqualified because it was illegal 12-6 elbows. But this guy, he won that fight. And obviously one of his DC wins doesn't count because he tested positive for steroids, which is why he isn't the GOAT of the UFC, because if you cheat, you're immediately eliminated from the GOAT debate. Because obviously, you know, the people that didn't cheat should be the GOAT over you. Like Khabib, he didn't cheat, did he? So, you know, GSP, he's never been proven to cheat. So, you know, there's a discussion for another day. But John Jones, obviously at light heavyweight, he beat everyone. He finished a lot of good fighters. Finished Lyoto Machida. He didn't actually beat Dominic Reyes, but he won on the scorecards. Got a robbery win there to save his reputation at light heavyweight. He beat Thiago Santos, but he almost lost that fight. But I'd say he probably won it in the end. But it was a close fight. He's just beaten a lot of people. Rampage, long reign, young champion, kept it even when he was going through some rough times. So we'll give credit where credit's due, you know. Always performed in the cage. He's got good fight IQ. Is he a bit dirty? Yes, but you know, he's winning fights and they never punished it for him. So I guess it's more the referee's fault than his. Because why wouldn't you if he's winning fights? So that's why John Jones is there. Domination at light heavyweight for 10 years. And he was a young champion. I think he was the youngest champion in UFC history. I think he was 22 or 23 or 21. I can't really remember. But 21, I think. Point is, to be that young and that successful just shows that your level's above the competition. Some of the guys he was fighting maybe a bit undersized? Maybe, yeah. But, you know, not his fault, is it? So, John Jones light heavyweight GOAT. No one comes close, not even DC. And he beat him twice. We move on. The final weight class in the UFC, heavyweight. It's Stipe Miocic. Is he that goated though at heavyweight? Not really. His reputation definitely got tarnished in the last few years. Obviously, he lost to Ngannou by absolute brutal KO, and he's also been KO'd by DC. I feel like Stipe isn't. He's obviously still the best heavyweight, but he isn't amazing. You know what I mean? He isn't like destroying every other heavyweight. The good heavyweights have a good chance of beating him, and we obviously saw that with Ngannou. He had nothing for Ngannou in that second fight. If they had that trilogy, I think Ngannou would have just knocked him out in the third round again. Yeah, the old heavyweights were quite bad, and Stipe's just pretty good, you know. Out of 10 in heavyweight, Stipe's like a 7 out of 10, I'd say. And a lot of the old heavyweights were just no skill, fat people, or just people that had absolutely no grappling whatsoever. So obviously, or no boxing. So Stipe beat them all. He met his match in Daniel Cormier, but then he won the belt back, so we'll give him credit for that. And obviously, long-time reigning champion, got a lot of knockouts over hyped contenders back in the day, but you know, he can't be one of the top 5 greatest of all time just because, you know, he kind of got exposed in the later on parts of his career when he was fighting guys who were maybe more skilled than the previous generation. This new generation of heavyweights are a lot better. I think he basically loses to a lot of them. He loses to Aspinall. I think he loses to Almeida. Obviously loses to Jones. Loses to Gan. And he probably loses to Blades as well. But anyway, that is my GOAT list. Some of these guys are definitely clearly more GOATs than the others. I don't think this list is too controversial. I think the most controversial ones are maybe 155 and 135, to be honest. But yeah, so that's the list. I'm MMA Tizzer. Subscribe if you're new so you don't miss any of my future content. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Comment down below if you think I should change this list. Let me know your list. And then I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. See ya.